Let's chat. Thanks for joining me. It's been a while. We've been talking like once in the last 5 years.
Yeah, something like it, yes.
Except for the last, the odd email and link. But yeah.
That's right.
So you've been telling me recently that due to the world now, you couldn't go on holiday, so you have 2 weeks without work.
Something like it, yes. That's one of the little advantage of the lockdown.
Yeah.
So you have to change your plan, and suddenly you have quite a bit of time over there. And hey, what can I do that I haven't done for a while? And that is quite a bit really my life in a way. So let's call Eric and see what's going on.
Your life like role-playing games? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Drawing.
No, drawing is everyday life. That's the role-playing game life is a bit now and then, you know. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you've been drawing for what, 25 years? More?
No. I mean, on a professional point of view. Yeah, I started over the 2001, so it's quite 19 years.
Only 19 years.
Yeah, only. Yeah, I'm a late starter.
So basically, the stuff we were doing on Archipel was then. That was 2001, 2002, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
I wanted to bring the books and show them. Okay, next time. I'm not going to disappear and rummage into the RPG shelves. That would be too dangerous. I don't want to end in the hospital right now.
Okay.
So yeah, you have time and I have time, and I've had this map. It's just here. I'm going to actually show. That's another test. Let's see if I can show my screen on this. Is it appearing on the...
Yes, it is.
Cool. This badly drawn map that I've had for, I want to say 4 years on my wall. It was another time of having less stuff to do, and I drew the map, and then I thought, it could be a cool campaign, and it would be goblins, and it would be underground. And I blogged a little bit about it, and I blogged like 3 entries about different types of goblins, and in the end, it didn't go anywhere. It's been here, and I've been thinking about, removing it from the wall, because it's an achievement to never even starting a project. But for some reason, it's still here, and now that time is here, I first thought maybe, since we're all going to be stuck home, maybe we should do role-playing games from home, which is something that a lot of people who are watching us already do. I hadn't done a lot of it until recent. Well, I did do a lot of it a few years ago, and then I stopped. And now I am doing a lot of 5e D&D with a group of people who have not much better to do at the moment, including me. So we run for each other, and we play a lot. But I want to show that you can play short adventures in an hour in an open campaign and have 20, 30, 50 active players maybe. So it's going to start soon. It's going to be a campaign. And the campaign and the fact that I'm getting beautiful goblins in my email about 3 times a day from you should be enough to get me to write the fucking thing. I've made a start, and I'm going to start showing off your art as well.
So
is that okay with you?
Yeah, it's okay. But before you show any art of mine, know that badly drawn maps are the best, because they are not too detailed. They are just what you need to be in a blur, and everything is possible on body drawn map. So it's perfect what you did. That's the perfect getaway to go anywhere. It's great.
I'll take that as a compliment. Anyway, I can only badly draw maps. I'm not really able to do that professionally. Let me find your art. Not my art.
You can show your art. It's great. I like it. I told it to you.
Maybe I'll show it at some other time. But plus, it's been on the internet for a big while. I'm going to show this in alphabetical order because internet. Well, and here. So Goblinburg is the city of goblins, and one of the things I was thinking about when I was thinking about writing and not writing this campaign was, and the setting was, goblins could be anything. Before Tolkien and before Dungeons and Dragons, there weren't. No one had made a definitive monster manual of what a goblin was, and an elf could be a goblin, a dwarf could be a goblin. So my original idea was to actually play BX D&D and reskin a lot of the classes and the monsters and races as classes as goblins, and that's my original idea. This guy is a winged goblin. I don't think it was reskinned for anything else. This guy is a bearded goblin, is a reskin. He was in BX. He was a reskin of the gnome, which gnomes are great. You can do so many things with gnomes.
Yeah. But those ones are great because they are, in a way, fate to die. If I read correctly what you said in your little pitch you gave to me.
Dude, I don't even remember.
You wrote that they used to have laughable deaths.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's great. That's why I made them a bit ridiculous, with big noses and big feet and big hands. You can do anything like a toy with that guy.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to putting them in the game. I've run 2 sessions, 2 1-hour sessions. This is the Changeling, which is a doppelganger goblin. That's a really good. I really like this. It's moving around in Goblinburg because Goblinburg is also called the Antispire. It's a huge stalactite above an infinite cave. No one really knows what's down there. No one is even sure. We're still underground and not in space.
Yeah. You call it the Big Black?
Yes.
Everything outside is the Big Black. It's great.
Except for the rays that are these magical rays of light coming from no one knows, even me yet. That was your first take of the Crow Goblin.
Right, that's right. Just so you know, because when Eric gave me the little pitches, sometimes it's just 2 words, sometimes it's just 1 long or 2 sentences, and I don't know why I didn't concentrate really on the name of the goblin, but more on the fact that he said that they can glide for a while, So I don't know. I completely obliterate the Crow Goblin name and just go and run with the flying squirrel goblin, and so it's in a definitive or more or less definitive version. It's more like Kenku or something like it. But that's something to be shelved somewhere and maybe reused.
Oh yeah, he'll be reused. He'll be another type of goblin. That's for sure. Because it's really good. But the these notes I sent you were for myself, and the Crow Goblin is kind of fixed in my head because I've used it in Macchiato Monsters, actually. And it's been used, like someone has played one who died in the Palace of the Vampire Queen. So now one of them is a vampire for whoever ventures in that dungeon when I run it a couple of times a year.
I just want to see a Kenku vampire. How can he pierce flesh and drink blood? I just want to see it.
It hasn't happened. There's also a stormtrooper in that dungeon, a vampire stormtrooper.
All right.
This guy is the reskinned elf. He's the Diaphanos goblin, and there's one in armor. That was a really cool idea. I've added that sword into my notes.
Great.
The fox goblin, or also called the renard, because renard in French is fox. They were my kobolds. The Noer goblin comes from a stupid idea I had. I probably have drawings of that. They have these huge jaws, and they can eat you alive. The only thing they have to manage to do is get onto you, so they have these hooks and useless armor, so that they do, because they're not that big and they don't want to get hashed. The bugbear. The bugbears are very peaceful, and they come in two different versions. These are
at least the civilized one, because I haven't done yet the wild one.
Yeah, these end up very often working as servants. There was a little group of them in my game today at lunchtime. So I got to show your art for the first time. Gremlins are, of course, goblins, and it was a reskin of the Pixie, so that's why it ended up with wings. I love the name. It's a great idea. That's entirely your idea, but it appeared immediately into my notes. Why do you call it a crawl?
You use quite a kind of French names, and I thought it was quite funny to have a groll. It is an old shoe in French, and in English it's called a grail. And because they are modified, I thought it could be a nice way to put a strange French word somewhere, and still be relevant with the original English name. That's why.
Yeah. So I was when I saw the name, I was like, is that some kind of shawl? And then I got the idea, and then putting that into my notes, I was going to change the name, thinking it makes me think too much of a troll. But actually, I like the possible confusion. I like the players are going to hear about grolls and imagining anything but a grail.
Sure.
So it's there. I think it's going to show up in the next game.
I like to hear about. There's no new one.
Yeah, I have to put everything into my folder as soon as you send it, otherwise I'm going to miss some.
That's based on the pitch you gave me this morning about something called the growths, which is a part on the side of the stalactites. And your pitch is perfect about what's going on over there. And this idea of something growing and growing over, maybe you could explain it better than me. I thought about this kind of mystic guy who just want to hear the growth speak to their mind, or ears, or long ears in that case. And go inside those mushrooms, strange mushroom, to like a eco cave, to be able to hear what the growth is saying to them, if it says anything.
Probably is, but who knows? It's a funny thing, because when I ran the first session, which was another hour-long lunchtime session last week, I improvised mentalist monks, because someone needed to send a message to someone, and it was just an NPC saying, "I sent a message to someone about this thing," and I was like, "Oh, wait," in that switch, that spark of idea between two sentences, because you're running a game and you don't have time to take notes or anything. It's like that. It's not going to be ravens or pigeons. It's going to be telepathic messages. So since last week, Goblinburg has mentalist monks who you can pay to send messages to other monks.
Okay, it's kind of private post office.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that we have wise sages, people meditating in robes, works perfectly. This is the Hobgoblin, which I entirely forgot that I gave it a goat head.
Yeah.
When I sent it to you, it works so well.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. That's true that in my very old campaign, one of the first I ran, I had beastmen, and so it's not your usual hobgoblin. It's more close to your own description, but I think it's great. Not my drawing. I mean the fact that hobgoblins are not the typical or usual hobgoblins.
Yeah, I mean, I love the purple skin samurai militaristic guys, but we'll put them somewhere.
Yeah. I have a first drawing for something more akin to a typical hobgoblin, but with bronze armor and very sturdy and heavy. Maybe we can use something like it. Oh,
Sure.
yeah,
The doctor.
that's a new one.
Yeah, that's from today. So I'm gonna have to put a lake in there somewhere.
But I think your citern, how do you pronounce it in English?
Cisterns.
Cisterns, yeah. I think that
Yeah.
your cisterns is a great idea. It's another way to put a goblin everywhere with a purpose. And when we arrive to the first goblin from the cisterns, you can see the baby that creature is. And when they start eating each other, maybe they can grow to that size, and become quite cumbersome.
He's just here.
Yeah, this one.
They are lake goblins.
Yes.
That you invented from looking at the French cover from
Jim Holloway?
Borderlands, which I didn't show. That's a thing that I don't have to go. Okay, just stop sharing. Ta-da!
Exactly.
So yeah, you're right. They look like they live under the sea.
Yeah, they got a kind of thing over the head. Jim Holloway is such a great artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Let's go around and showing the rest because it's worth it.
Thanks.
That's another idea. So I don't know where this is going to fall down or maybe it's been maybe it was it ended up on the side somewhere because people who are watching us, you probably didn't have the time to see the map. We'll see that on the map, but there's a bunch of gigantic chains dangling from one side from that huge face carved in the rock. And that's where the growth is. So it's a weird vertical forest. Everything is vertical in Goblinburg. I've made all the maps I've made so far are side view, which is going to be an interesting challenge to DM and map.
Yeah. In a way to draw. In a way.
That's the first version of the Maze Goblin, which I really like. So it's gonna have to. I think Maze Goblins come in all shapes and sizes, like the Labyrinth ones. Anyway, that was my idea. from that and from Daniel Sells Troika. Don't know if you know this game.
Yes, I know a bit about it. I wanted to buy the book, the special version, but it was out of print at the moment. So for the moment, I haven't got in my hand, but I know a bit about it.
Only have the old one, but he just has a few things about tiny little goblins who will come from a labyrinth, and you just have to poison them like rats when you see them, so otherwise they're going to take over the place.
Okay.
That's the other one, which I really like.
Yeah. It's a bit more Brian Froud version.
Yeah.
Just like you talked about.
And I like the idea that you have that they will use the thread from their trousers to not get lost when they paradoxically get out of the maze.
That could be fun.
Yeah. Naked butt goblins.
Yeah.
The nail bug. I really love this idea.
I didn't know where you wanted to go with that, because in your description it was called Nearby Reverse Goblin, and that's it. So I just run with it, and it ended up like that.
Well, you probably remember them from the old monster manuals, and apparently I didn't know, but I've learned recently they're in 5e as well. But
Reverse Goblin?
Yeah, in the old, I think it's might be in the MM2 or Finfolio, but they were these goblins that they live backwards in time, so they tend to get younger.
Okay.
And you can only damage them with a healing spell, which was a fun way to surprise our players in 1979. And now they turn them into tricksters. But I love that they're mutants and weird.
There seems to be a lot of mutation in your world.
Yeah, maybe I've read too much OSR stuff. I'll have to be careful about it. In my mind, they come from an alternate dimension that you can go to by crossing mirrors. So they're coming from the other side of the looking glass.
Okay, that's nice.
But yeah, we'll see where that goes in game. That's the art I've used for this video, and I really like it. Like
Thanks.
the gendarmes. Yeah, there's a lot of. I haven't said Goblinburg. I've decided after back when I was going to develop this, I wasn't sure where it would be located, and I've decided that it would be under Anatolia. A long time ago in our mythical history, so maybe 16th, 17th, 18th century. I haven't decided. So there's a little bit of gunpowder and quite a few Turkish themes and names. But there's also French, because I've decided also that it's late enough that the Ottomans are using French as a language of diplomacy. This is a possessed goblin, we should say, maybe. Some mushrooms, goblins and mushrooms. Really, that campaign setting is not going to be very original. Everyone has done goblin and mushrooms, especially Games Workshop. Sorry. We'll try to make it interesting enough that people want to read it. But yeah, there's parasitic mushrooms, and they can take over your brain sometimes, or even grow out of your brain and turn you into this guy, I think he's just his language he swapped languages and no one understands him, and that makes him really angry. Is that the story?
That's an idea, yeah.
He looks a bit like a preacher to me, so.
Like a preacher?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong, because if you read the name of the file that I sent to you, it's Philistine. Yes, and I thought about the Philistine, in the Bible, this guy that wanted to show that they were more faithful than anyone else.
That could work.
At the corner of the street. And so that I started with that idea, and it went elsewhere.
I love the odd shoes. That should be in random equipment. The snap goblins are orcs. In case you didn't guess, you have to have orcs. I think originally it was supposed to be a player class, and it was supposed to be the reskin of the dwarf.
That's right.
When Goblinburg gets published, I think it's going to be systemless. I think it works just as well as putting BX stats, or maybe we'll have a separate book with Macchiato monsters when I run this. But I'll talk about the campaign at the end. Oh, this is where the chains come from. There's this huge face that I call the Stargazer.
That's a work in progress because it's not. It hasn't been accepted as an illustration.
It's very close to what I was thinking, apart from the nose.
But work in progress, no problem.
And that's the Thule. Thules are some of my favorite D&D monsters.
You put it in my radar because I knew the name, but I never used it and was not very familiar with it. So thank you.
Pleasure. I changed the origin a little bit, but they're like fused flesh monstrosities made of different types of goblins.
Okay.
Because in D&D they just say, I think they're from before the Lost City. I think that's I think Moldvay invented them and put them there for the first time, and he just said they're a cross between a ghoul and a troll, and they look like hobgoblins for some reason. But they regenerate and they paralyze you. And I think they make really good war mounts.
Yeah, sure. Sure. I started to make a wild version of it.
Oh, cool.
But for now, I'm concentrating on something else.
Actual work?
Actual work. Yeah.
Good. That's the Troblin. It's a troll goblin. It's not my best concept, but I'm glad I added it because I love these eyes.
I think it's taken from an old illustration, the black eyes, like a void with two red pinpoints.
Yeah.
But what I like about this notion is that they are quite terrifying. He has cut a tongue and put it on his cap over there, and at the same time quite ridiculous. And so I think it's an interesting mix to be at the same time terrifying and ridiculous.
Yeah, you could show that to players, and it would be. I'm sure there would be discussion about: do we want to talk to this guy? Do we want to run away? Do we want to throw a bomb at him? Or also, what are they called again? Halberds and Volches and stuff. You know what I'm talking about. Armadast in French. The Gygaxian list of endless list of those weapons. I like that they're related product. They should be there. That's an afterthought. Umbral goblins would be like a tiny Umber orcs, and again, it looks cute, but also very scary.
And there's no size comparison on that illustration, so it's up to you what size it is. It could be 20 centimeters, or maybe. I thought maybe as he was mischievous, he could be. I put a second pair of arms to be sure that it can do anything with it, So still something. Maybe his big pincer were not nimble enough to do mischievous things, so I put a second pair of arms. in case you accept it.
No, it works. It works pretty good. And we've been around, so I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm looking at the time. We've been blabbering for over half an hour.
Okay.
That's entirely your fault because you sent me like 30 illustrations in less than a week. So yeah, I guess we can keep more stuff to talk about, as in our ideas, how this is going to be published. Do not expect a big 4-color book, hardback, or anything. It's probably going to be a series of zines. Let's try and be realistic, PDFs, and then when the world starts again, then we might be able to make proper paper products.
Yeah, it could be great.
Around.
I think the next step for me would be to start a bit like the one you saw with the cliff, to start to make 1 or 2 illustration of more
environments.
Yeah, a bigger size illustration, just to see. You just sent me this morning a description of the growth, and there's so many things interesting over there. The houses and everything that goes on. So I think maybe 1 or 2 illustration in this kind of area, and to see how it goes, and if it can sparkle something either to you or the players, and or to me. And it's going to be great.
Yeah. I don't want to make you work more than you should, especially if you also have real work to do. So I'm happy to let you have fun and just come and play with us. Yeah, I'll talk about the campaign soon. Let's maybe talk about it next week. We can do another chat if you can. Otherwise, it'll just be me talking to the camera, and I'll explain how the open campaign can work.
Okay, great. So thank you for inviting me, and
thank you for accepting.
You're welcome. Bye, everybody.
I'll see you soon. I'm going to stop casting first. Sorry, still learning the trade here. And bye-bye.